Have you ever wondered what happens when you cross an espresso machine with a UFO? Well, wonder no more. Let me take you on a little journey, a journey of scientific mishap and caffeinated chaos. Our tale begins in the cluttered laboratory of a man named Bob. Now, Bob, apart from having an unhealthy obsession with afternoon soap operas, was a scientist, and a darn good one. But even the best of us have our off days, and Bob's off day resulted in something quite extraordinary, an espresso machine that could teleport itself to other galaxies. Imagine, if you will, an espresso machine zipping around the universe, leaving a cosmic trail of coffee beans in its wake. Now, I'm not an expert on the space-time continuum or anything, but I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. It's like Hansel and Gretel if instead of breadcrumbs they were dropping Arabica beans all over the Milky Way. And our dear Bob, bless his heart, he tried to retrieve his beloved machine. He even went as far as to send a carrier pigeon in a spacesuit after it. But alas, it turns out that carrier pigeons are not particularly well equipped for interstellar travel. Who would have thought, right? So, there he was, our Bob, standing in his lab, staring at the pigeon-sized spacesuit that had returned, sans pigeon, with only a single coffee bean in the helmet. He picked up the tiny helmet, rolled the bean around in his hand, and sighed. His espresso machine was out there, somewhere, brewing lattes for alien life forms, and he was left with a pigeon-sized spacesuit and a coffee bean. It was a sobering moment for Bob. He looked at his reflection in the shiny surface of the helmet, a man defeated by his own invention, a man deprived of his daily caffeine fix, and he couldn't help but question his life choices. And so, our dear Bob was left caffeine deprived and questioning his life choices. As if this wasn't enough, the inhabitants of the galaxy where the machine landed developed a rather peculiar addiction. Enter the Zogblats, a species with the newfound espresso obsession. Picture this, folks, a race of aliens who don't know a coffee bean from a kidney bean, but they've got a hankering for that dark, bitter brew we earthlings can't start our day without. The Zogblats, bless their intergalactic hearts, have been attempting to replicate this magic elixir, but without a basic understanding of the ingredient, the humble coffee bean, things have been going south, and by south I mean hilariously disastrous. Imagine a Zogblat, let's call him Zoggy, trying to grind an asteroid in his espresso machine. The result? A meteor shower of epic proportions, which, let's face it, is just a cosmic way of saying, Zoggy, you messed up, buddy. But hey, at least it was a spectacle that would have made any earthling astronomer green with envy. Then there was the time they attempted to use their own spaceships. Yes, you heard it right, spaceships. They thought, if it's not the asteroids, maybe it's our spaceships that hold the secret to this tantalizing drink. The outcome? A bunch of crushed spaceships, a huge traffic jam in the Milky Way, and a whole lot of Zogblats late for their space jobs. Despite these comical disasters, their obsession with espresso did not wane. In fact, it only intensified. The Zogblats started to experience caffeine withdrawal. They got jittery, their antennas started twitching uncontrollably, and their usually luminescent green skin took on a rather dull hue. Their love for espresso had turned into a full-blown addiction. The galaxy was in a caffeine-induced frenzy. They needed their fix, and they needed it now. The Zogblats, in a desperate attempt to secure their supply of this ambrosia, decided to take action. So they did what any caffeine-deprived desperate species would do. The Zogblats, in their caffeine-induced frenzy, decided to send a delegation to Earth to demand more espresso. Back on Earth, Bob was just about to enjoy his first peaceful, coffeeless morning when the sky darkened and the ground shook as the Zogblats descended. Their demand? More coffee. These caffeine-craving creatures had developed an insatiable appetite for Earth's Java. And you know what they say, when life gives you alien invasions, make intergalactic trade agreements. Bob, our unwitting hero, saw an opportunity amidst the chaos. You see, Bob missed his beloved espresso machine whisked away by these extraterrestrial coffee connoisseurs during their last visit. So, he proposed a deal. The Zogblats could have all the coffee they wanted, provided they returned his espresso machine. The Zogblats, keen to get their tentacles on more caffeinated goodness, agreed. And so they drafted the most absurd peace treaty known to man, or Zogblat. This document, which would later be known as the Coffee Peace Treaty, included some rather peculiar clauses. For starters, there was a non-aggression pact during the coffee harvest season. That's right, no abductions, no crop circles, nothing. The Zogblats agreed to let the farmers do their thing, ensuring an uninterrupted supply of beans. Next, there was the espresso extraction clause. This ensured that no more espresso machines would be extracted from Earth without prior permission. Bob, ever the negotiator, also managed to include a provision for cappuccino compensation. This meant that for every espresso machine taken, the Zogblats had to provide Earth with their own alien coffee technology. Finally, there was the latte levy. This was a tax that the Zogblats had to pay in the form of rare alien minerals for every latte they consumed. Bob figured if he was going to supply the galaxy with coffee, he might as well get something shiny out of it. So, the Zogblats left, taking with them a cargo ship full of coffee and leaving behind a very relieved and caffeinated Bob. And thus, folks, peace was brewed, one cup at a time. You'd think that would be the end, right? Oh, how wrong you are. Now, our dear Bob, once an average Joe, has become an intergalactic coffee supplier, brewing and serving up cups of Joe to beings across the cosmos. And the Zogblats, well, they've taken caffeine to a whole new level. Thanks to their newfound energy levels, they've developed an advanced civilization with coffee machines in every spaceship and coffee cups in every tentacle. Meanwhile, our brave carrier Pigeon, now an interstellar courier, returns with a spacesuit chock full of alien birdseed. Who knew birdseed could survive in space? Well, in this whimsical tale of ours, even the birdseed has a twist. Maybe it's the caffeine in the air or the sci-fi in our veins, but things have certainly taken an unexpected turn. And that, my dear friends, is why you should never mix coffee with science fiction. Unless, of course, you fancy an intergalactic caffeine adventure